Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome back to our Planet Coaster Park, Wilderview Mews, and last week we tortured old film quotes and we added river rapids, and this week our 90s and noughties park skips into the 2010s to add a coaster that everyone wanted before RMC came along and ruined everything. It's the B&M Wing Coaster. Fly, my pretties, fly! Well, it should come as no surprise that B&M Wing Coasters are my favourite type of coaster, even if they are a pain in the arse to build in the game. And just in case you did miss the memo, this park rose to fame in the 90s and noughties. Most of the attractions would be from that time frame, but this is a park that exists in our universe in 2022. So, of course, it would have been updated with modern attractions along the way, with this being one of them. It would have been added around 2014, so after the Swarm, but before the Wing Coasters had hypercoaster capabilities, and this is deliberately placed in a smaller area, which might not make sense right now, but it will do by the time the park is completed, remembering that this is meant to be a sprawling park, a little bit like Six Flags Great Adventure. It's going to be scrabbling for whatever space it can find, and this is the space that it finally fits into, and I like how this has turned out. If you look from the top, it looks like a proper wing coaster layout. It's really, really weird. It's got quite a few inversions though, this one. It's a bit of a weird one to describe. So let's just take a tour, shall we? It's probably the best thing to do. So we start here in the station. Yes, of course, it's going to have the double layout setup that I am so famous for doing. I'm one of the only people that do it, and I don't know why, because the wing coasters have double-sided stations. So I need to do some trading off with the exit area here, because you can't actually put the exit gates up on this area here. So I kind of like got to just play with the game and see what happens. You've seen me do it before, so you're going to know what sort of trade-offs we're dealing with here. So you're going to come around the corner into the lift hill. It's set to 40 degrees, which I believe is slightly shallower than the Swarm. I think that's 45 degrees, but this felt more like it needed to be 40 degrees. And then it comes into the famous wing over drop, and this is exactly the same as Swarms, so you can't tell me it's wrong. It's done from the plans. So even from the top. But the one thing I will say is that Planet Coaster's camera hates doing wing over drops, because when you try and smooth the track, it tries to smooth it the other way. It's because of the way that they're profiled. So this bit here is just a little bit jank, but it's correctly profiled in every step of the way, even down to this bit. And then it comes into a 0G roll. Now, what I've learned recently, and I didn't know this before, so I will put my hands up and say I didn't know that, the 0G rolls on wing coasters, they do have some kind of heart lining. They have a continuous roll. It's not much, it's only like just under a meter, but they do have it, and the reason for it is so it can swing from side to side, and it takes the forces off the train, and it actually transfers the forces a little bit better. So this is what this is. It's got a little bit of it going on there, but again, it's profiled to the same as the Swarm. It's slightly shorter, for reasons that this layout is slightly longer, so I don't need it to, or I don't want it to lose much of its energy in advance, right? So, and then we come into an airtime hill. It's only a shallow airtime hill, so it's actually a bit more of a ejector airtime hill rather than anything else. And then into an Immelmann. So this is pretty much taken from Flug de Demonen over in Hyde Park. It's totally not the right, it's totally not how you say it, but that the wing coaster in Hyde Park anyway. And again, the Immelmann is based on a larger version of that Immelmann on that coaster, so I know it's correct. And then it comes around into this way into, it's like almost like a drawn out corkscrew. It's a 0G roll that's a half 0G roll, half corkscrew. Guess where this one is? This one's Raptor at Gardaland, so it's profiled on that one. And then we've got the turnaround here, again based on Raptor at Gardaland's dimensions. I love it. It just looks really good. I love how it's turned out. Comes flying across the water then into a corkscrew. This is a custom corkscrew, so it's probably not perfect, but it does what it needs to do. And I wanted it to be custom because I wanted it to have continuous rolling from this curve into the corkscrew. And then it comes into what I believe are called a 0G turnaround. And this is the 5th iteration of this turnaround, because it just does not come out right when you start to smooth it. But again, it does have some kind of heart rolling. So it has a bit of heart rolling here, and then it has some heart rolling over here. But this is like this because I wanted to have a near miss with the sky ride that's just behind here, right? So this is why this is so close to that pillar. But hey, it's got enough clearance. There's a lot of clearance here. It's like maybe 2 meters, so you've got plenty of clearance. But look at this as a Yes, love it. That's going to be such a good near miss element. Then we've got a flyover pass going this way, and then just a couple of twists and turns just to start to run the whole thing down, just to spend some of that energy into the brake run, and then the final brake run, and then back into the station. I've not smoothed this bit yet, by the way. You'll probably notice that. It runs 3 trains, just like Flurg does, our mate Flurg. So, although Hyder Park tend to run it on 2 trains, but it's capable of running 3 trains. So a more frugal park would probably run this coaster on 2, but I want it to run on 3 because of throughput and stuff. So I love it. It's looking so good. Now, the area itself is going to take more of a Phoenix from Toverland feel to it. I don't want it to be fairy tale. I don't want it to be that in-depth, but I want it to be lots of rock work, lots of nature and foliage and that sort of stuff going on in here. So I wanted that kind of area, and then the main area I wanted to have a central plaza away from the actual pathway itself. It felt like this would be a coaster they just tucked off the path and they would just put a mini plaza in here. In fact, a mini plaza that makes more sense than the Woody one does. That's kind of what I'm going for here. And the queue line, I wanted to do something different. Yes, it's cattle pen hell right across the board, but actually I wanted to bring it underneath the brake run, and there's going to be a slight building here. And then underneath the final turns into a big cattle pen and back again, with the idea being that actually if they didn't need this extended queue line, they could just close it off here and have the cattle pen this way. And likewise with this cattle pen here, they could, if they wanted to, just bring it round this way and around this way and then down that way. So it's nice and compact, nice and succinct. And this is how it's looking on the profile. It's looking so good. Like, this is absolutely everything I wanted the wing coaster to be. It just looks stunning, and in blue as well. It was originally green and you lost it against the trees, but no, I love how this is. So I'd better carry on decorating, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright then, you guys, you know what time of the episode it is. It's that middle part where I talk you through lots of stuff that we've changed and show you some things that we've stolen from other theme parks, and also spoilerise something that's coming in a future episode. And I'm going to do that first, if you don't mind, because I have decided that ahead of me putting on this on the workshop next week for you guys to actually play with, I'm going to develop this area of the lake so it feels like it's a whole complete area. So for that reason, and for reasons that I will discuss next week, I've chosen the Vekoma boomerang and also an Indiana Jones clone, which, by the way, is way harder to say than you might imagine. So these are your names for next week, please. Name suggestions in the comments, as always, for the Vekoma boomerang and also the Indiana Jones clone. But guys, please tell me which one you're naming, because otherwise I won't know, and I won't know which ones to put to the vote. So there we go. Watch this space on that. So coming over to our wing coaster, this area is just looking so good. I love how this is turning out. It felt like I needed to steal some stuff from other parks, but not intentionally this time. It's more I wanted to be inspired by. It felt like that the timeline of this coaster being added would have been around Flurg de Dynamon, and also the Swarm. And the theme to bring all of that together is actually Valkyrie at Liseberg. So I've kind of taken a bit of a twist on all 3 of those themes. You'll see all throughout, right? But the first thing you'll notice is the colour scheme has changed. So I've gone for this darker blue. So as this has developed into a bit more of a darker theme, I've kind of thought actually the light blue was a bit too intense. Now, just to let you know, we're not going for heavy, intense themes here, by the way. We are going for a generic theme across the entire park with lightly themed areas. So that's why this top area here is more like Western Ranchy type feeling, and the Arrow Coaster is just there. So, yeah. This isn't going to be an intensely themed area, but what I've started to do in this area here anyway is to start kitting out all of the stuff. This is the Phoenix Toverland inspired kind of stuff. I've put in a load of fencing along here, and I've just made it more of a quay than an actual natural riverbed or natural coastline. Riverside. I don't know what the phrase is. It's just gone from my head, and I'm going to carry on talking and hope that it comes into my head. Anyway, I've done this so it looks a bit tidier, right? And the fencing itself, some of it is actually arbitrary. It doesn't really need to be there, but I've just lined it off just for consistency. So, for example, this fencing here really isn't needed, because if you're standing at this fence, you're in far more danger than the water that it's protecting you from because of the coaster track, and that's why you've got the don't die fencing along here, right? So that's what I'm going for. In terms of the actual the movement of people within the area, what I've done is I've split this path into two. I didn't want to obstruct the guests too much, so that's why I've split it down this way. You can either come down this way and underneath the wing coaster, or you can carry on through here. And this is the technique that I love using. It's about the ability to make paths wider than they really are in game. You're using the in-game path just to tell the game where the guests can go. What you then do is then cover it off, and it looks way better than it really is. This area here is going to be a viewing area, and the idea is it's for the Immelman. So yeah, you'll see that I'll put trees and foliage and whatever all along here. Queue line itself, cattle pen of hell. I mean, this area up here would probably hold about an hour's worth of people. If you're down here and you look up and you see this cattle pen is full, don't even bother queuing, just go on another ride, because it's going to be quite a wait. But over here, more cattle pens, but this is what I was talking about in the last episode, with the idea of having just one concrete pad and not having to do every single inch of your queue line and marry it up to the edge. All you can do in this instance is just put one straight queue and then just cover it off with a load of concrete and be done. And it doesn't have to be square, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. And I'm also doing that up here as well, so you'll see that you've got this one here as a diagonal, and then the concrete will just cover this all up. This is the weird building. I've done nothing to it yet. I just wanted to place it to make sure I had enough clearance and stuff. There'll be something in here, but I just wanted something that wasn't a path cover to cover off the brake run that we've got here, just for the guests' sake, really. Coming over this way, maintenance area and transfer track and stuff. I love how this is coming together. I've used the mulch and coloured it grey to give a bit of a gravel effect, but I will actually also use the hydro gravel. You'll see I've used that elsewhere. But I just wanted this to feel like it was not so landscaped, it's not so thought out, it's just thrown down for the sake of throwing it down. And yes, there is enough room here for this transfer track to work. It doesn't have to be any bigger than this, especially when you're dealing with a confined space and stuff. So this works, this is fine. What I have done underneath here is I've actually just put some fine details. So I've used the Ghostbusters stuff, you know, I don't know what they call the ghost catchers, I can't remember what they're called. But I just use those in here to give that kind of effect. And you can't really see it very well in the station, but I have also just put some custom stuff on the station in here. So custom runners, custom stuff like that, and then use the Ghostbusters bits along here just to kit it out. It's completely unnecessary. But hey, what's this channel without being unnecessary, right? And then over here, maintenance area. This probably doesn't look like the Swarm's maintenance area at all, but it does what it needs to do. You're going to look in here and go, yeah, it's a maintenance area. It's believable as being a maintenance area, so we can be done with it, right? Just need to do some final detailing and touches up in here. And I looked at the Swarms, by the way. It's got 2 trains, but the station and the maintenance area only has the ability to hold 1 train in the shed. I don't know where the other one goes. I really don't. And I'm trying to find out. It's a mystery. And I've checked it out. There's definitely only room for 1 train. Anyway, into the... Wow, had to confuse Chacho. Into the station. So let's just zoom in here. This is how I'm looking at the station. It's dual loading as promised. So you've got loading from this side. This is the functional loading. This is the non-functional loading. And then the exit strategy is at the back. So this is the functional exit and this is the non-functional exit. I can't get rid of the barriers, so we just have to look through it. And I also can't change that the exit path is here. We just have to look through it, right? It's believable. It does what it needs to do in terms of dual loading, because it's identical from the top, other than this one being slightly narrower, but it's identical from the top, and it does what it needs to do. But this is where I am starting to merge the themes of the Swarm, Flurg, and Valkyra from Liseberg. I've basically made the Swarm station in a in a building because we've got the queue line that comes up this way around the back of what will be the control box, and then comes down this way. This is so like the Swarm, it's unreal. Like, it looks like the Swarm's queue line from in here. Like, you look at this and go, yeah, this is definitely the Swarm. I'm not even sorry, but I like it. It's functional because the queue... Oh, I need to sort this out. What's this? What's this all about? So the queue line comes up along this way and then down here, and then it comes up along this way and back up on itself, and then there is the exit there. Control panels and stuff need to go in here. I haven't done the booth yet. I've just sort of made it sit on the sight line correctly. This is how it would be, and of course the ceilings and stuff are all the right height, so that's all looking good. And then this bit I've just touched up. So this is the kind of theme that I'm going for, but I need to be careful because this does feel a bit like a warehouse. I'm trying to avoid it feeling like a warehouse, and I'm failing miserably at the moment. So I think I just need to put... I think it'll be foliage and stuff that comes in here that's going to make this okay. This bit is a non-functional path. It just needs a path cover to make it look like a path. I've taken the path out, and I've also reprofiled this bend a little bit as well, just to make the station work. It's still acceptable in terms of profiling and whatever. And then over here we have ourselves the photo kiosk and the photo booth. I haven't done much in here. I've just thrown it down just to give a feel for how it would sit on the sightline. It needs to be kitted out properly. And then what I've done here is I've actually swapped out the path texture for the spooky packs path texture, and when you marry it up to this one that's on the workshop, there is this almost seamless transition between the one and the other, and I'm okay with that because it means I haven't got a path cover, custom path cover this bit here. So $2.20 principle, like if you can get away with it looking okay from a distance, then that's what you need, and this does. It looks seamless from here, right? So I am all right with that. And then over this way is just a custom food unit that's going in. This is not supposed to be attached to this theme. It is supposed to be something just in this area to monetize it. I wanted to make a feature of the lake for stuff that's coming in like future episodes that will be over here and over here. So it felt like it needed to have some kind of something. I haven't done anything like detail work and whatever in here, so there's not really much to show you other than how it sits on the how it sits on the sight line. But I mean, I'm happy with it as it is so far. It does what it needs to do. But I am left with a conundrum. I've got this area here that feels like a dead space. Now, that parks like Busch Gardens, Williamsburg and whatever, they do have a lot of dead space when it comes to waterfront and stuff. But I kind of want to put something in, and it feels like this lake needs a boat ride. So that's definitely going to happen. And I think the station makes sense for it to be in this sort of area, so I can bring the exit path up onto this platform. So that makes sense, but it still doesn't feel like the area has purpose. And this is what I'm thinking. Bear with me, right? And I want your opinions on this, please, guys. The Screaminator fits quite nicely in this space. So if I just move it up slightly, I'll need to do some like moving around with textures and stuff, but taking some inspiration from Hershey Park, not Hyder Park, the other one, Hershey Park, and how rides are on the side of the hill and you just have sheer concrete and whatever, exposed concrete. The Screaminator fits perfectly in that space, and it also gives the area a little bit of purpose. You can put the queue and stuff as a cattle pen in here and then back out, and it doesn't really interfere too much with the coaster. So I mean, I think it works. I mean, the other alternative is to have a coaster in here, but the amount of queue space that you need, as you can see for this, you need quite a lot of space. So it would mean that the station would need to be on the water and the queue line at the back here, and then you're just destroying the water line. So I don't know what to do. It's not going to be this episode anyway, so let me know in the comments what you are thinking. But this is it from the top so far. Look at how this is sitting. It's coming together. This flits in just nicely. It's like a glove. I love it. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to get this finished. Alright then, you guys, I am done here for this week. There's a few things I still need to work on, but that's tomorrow me's problem. So that means the stamp comes out once again, and I love how this has turned out. This is definitely my favourite wing coaster I have ever done. It's just come to life, you know, all the standard cliche stuff that I say. And yes, we have a name. It is Vulgaris. That is what won the vote this week. It's a suggestion by Paul. So welcome back to the channel, my friend. I promise this is not a fix. I genuinely do just write down blindly my favourite names and put my favourite 5 to the vote, and this is the one that won. It felt like this was a good opportunity as well to re-crack open the Ruinics that Spike did for us in the flying coaster episode for Chacholandia, and so I'm going for this angel and devil theme that's going with it. So devil being red, angel being blue. You'll see that this is threaded throughout the entire ride experience, but not in your face. This is not a direct theme. It's just like light touching, just to give it a bit of a backstory and a bit of a theme. But this is how the whole area looks, and I love how this has turned out. I wanted this area to be green because we've got to be careful where we place trees because of the width of the wing coaster trains. So you have to be very selective where you place your trees and what trees you are placing, and that also lent itself then to not using too much colour because of the red and blue theme. So I actually just decided to keep this area quite green and quite lush. So let's have a look then at the actual area itself. The queue line, I love how this has turned out. This is what I was talking about with the fences and stuff. Just this one line. I haven't gone through and done the complete outline of the queues, and you actually see that quite well here, and it works really effectively. it's so much easier to do as well. You save so much time. Start doing it, guys, if you're not. This is the building. Again, you'll see the Angel Devil stuff. It's not quite ready to show you inside. I'm just waiting for some stuff to come through or some stuff to actually happen. So I'm not going to show you in there, but it will be split into two. One side will be angels, one side will be devils. Watch this space. And then the actual hill line queue then looks like this. So this is the area that if it's full, don't bother joining the queue. It's a long queue. Then we've got outside the front here. This is the main building. So this is very much Valkyria inspired. Valkyrie. I don't think I'm saying that right. Liseberg's dive coaster inspired in shaping and everything. Now, Gargoyle was suggested quite a lot as a name, so I thought I wanted to just pay homage to the fact that Gargoyle didn't win the vote, but it was suggested a lot of times. So we've got some Gargoyles. I mean, they were there in the last update anyway, but I actually made sure to do a thing of it. They just put lots of overgrowth and stuff in amongst here. Remember, this coaster would be relatively old. It would still be well kept, like the area wouldn't be overgrown or unloved or anything, but I just wanted to give a feeling of a little bit of overgrowth. Lots of catwalk clutter going on in here as well, and underneath wing coasters you do tend to find this little area of electric boxes and motors and stuff. I've decided not to completely fence this off. It doesn't need don't die fencing because the trains aren't travelling that fast. So I've just kept the low-level fencing but still use the usual signage and stuff, so that's what you'll see. And catwalk clutter is also present along here as well. So, maintenance area, this is now done, dusted and touched up. Love it. This feeling of just a disgusting space. It's just like used and worn and weathered and not really loved. I love it. And then inside here, it hasn't really changed much, just a little bit of touching up and stuff going on, bit of tidying up of some things, and an attempt to it's really bad, an attempt to hide some bushes that I can't move because they're needed for the rapids, hide them with things, and I failed miserably, but it's fine. Just don't look. So coming into the station then, this is where the Angel Devil theme really comes into its own, because each side represents Angel and a devil, so you've got fire on one side and then the clouds on the other. So this is what I'm going for in here. I've just touched up the station with Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff, but I didn't want to go all out in design. I mean, you could spend millions and millions on this station if you wanted to and make it look like a proper gothic thing, but actually if you look at how basic something like the Swarms station is, or that station, it's actually really basic, and it probably isn't much more than what you're seeing right now. So I've kept it simple and elegant as opposed to detailed and expensive. But what that does mean is that the actual queue itself splits this way. So at this point you choose your plight and you go down whether you're going to Angel or Devil. Now, Chacho, why did you not just call it left and right? It's a good question. Thank you for asking. It's because the queue line wraps around on itself. So left is right and right is left. So if I wanted to go onto the right hand wing, I'd have to go down the left hand side. And if I wanted to go onto the left hand wing, I'd have to go down the right hand side. So it's the opposite. And I like confusing park guests, right? I love watching confused people in theme parks. But let's not make it difficult for people. Let's not do that purposely. So that's why I've decided to name each side Angel and Devil. Because at least now you can go, oh, I want to go down the Angel side or the Devil side. I don't have to worry about whether I need to go left or right to go left or right. So I love it. It's worked out so well. On the outside of the building then, I've just put some touching up areas, so moved a couple of beams and whatever, added the gargoyles onto the roof, and just some like fine touches and whatever, which makes this, do you know what, I think I prefer the building from this side than from the front, you know. And I've just put some vines and whatever on here just to make it come to life a little bit. So yeah, I love it. I love it. This was the view from the queue line then of the actual brake run, and do you know what? It's all right. Like, it gives quite a nice little view. This is the plaza area, so this is where we started at this update, obviously, but these are the views that you're getting, and I just love how graceful wing coasters are. I mean, they're just so awesome. I mean, this zero G roll just looks incredible. And yes, I did do this in the last, or I had done this in the last update, but it wasn't quite ready to show you, so custom supporting has been done. I do need to do some custom footers. I need to do a pass, but I need to see where the boat ride's going to go first before I can put those in, so that's why I've not done them. But ultimately your footers would actually be sticking out of the water. You wouldn't have submerged footers as such. So watch this space. Next episode I will fix those. I'll be fixing those up, but like I say, I need to see where the boat's going to go first as to whether I need to move some of the some of the supports and the footers and stuff that go with it. But this is the viewing area. Love how this has turned out. I toyed with having a tree or two in this area, but I wanted to keep a tree here, but not too big, so that's what I've gone for. But ultimately, you can stand underneath the... Are we calling it a 0G or are we calling it a corkscrew? I don't know. Anyway, whatever it is the inversion. You can you can sit underneath here. I've tried to avoid putting picnic benches directly underneath the train where possible, so you've got a clear run. Look, but people are going to move picnic benches. It's going to happen, so sit there at your own risk. And then over this way, again, this is just your idea of custom supporting, so I've changed those up. Now, I do want to point out that Smoothie Smooth, as I said before, does not like wing over drop, so this is the best you're going to do with Smoothie Smooth. This should actually be straight vertical down, and then it starts its twist around here, but when you smooth the track, it does this. So I'm not fighting with the game, guys. Your purist amongst you will just have to deal with it. I'm sorry, just have a day off. But that's ultimately what you're looking for, the right shaping and the right profiling. And this bend, I love. Yes. Ah, so good. So good. Over here, I've done nothing to touch this area up. I need to do that in the next episode when I'm doing the rest of the other side of the lake. And this is where we're going to see last then. So this is the pizza and drinks place. Just fine details and stuff that have been put inside here. And stuff that walked through the walls. Wanted to keep this nice and open, nice and simple. So this is what we're getting. But ultimately, the main part of this is the patio area. It's the view of the Immelmans and stuff, and the stuff that's coming across the lake that you don't know about yet. So yeah, love it. It's turned out awesome. Right, so this is everything from... Oh, get a good shot. There you go. You're feeling sick yet? So this is everything from the top. And I love how everything is now interacting with each other. Like the two maintenance areas are now joined. The rapids comes around this way and it goes straight past the drop and the maintenance area. It fits so nicely into that space that I had here, into that triangle that I had here. And then you've just got all of the stuff over the water. It feels right. It feels like this is like a coaster that they've squeezed in because they've got the space. And then this is the overall sight line. And then, of course, you've got your next week stuff in the background. Love it. Guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of this episode. I really do appreciate you getting here. I say it every single week, and I don't mean it any less the more I say it. I really do mean it. So thank you. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Please leave your roller coaster name suggestions in the comments below. Let's go for a ride, and I will see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.